I understood that they were angry with me. I didn't have an emotional reaction to it, so I would have
because you weren't the one inconvenienced.
I would have been.
That's why. And it bothers me that you say, if hindsight this, and if I would have known that. This was in the summer of 2022. We are now 2023. You had ample opportunity to mitigate this situation, especially when you're seeing that they're going on a site and making these comments, and then there's other people chiming in. You would think, okay, what is best for business? Is it worth $500? All right.
So we're going to excuse the parties while we deliberate in this case.
Look, I'm not a mom. I don't have kids. I just found the defendant to be annoyingly insensitive. You know, the COVID situation, fine, it is what it is. She could have mitigated that situation and gave them more of a notice about what was going on. When she received information, she waited. But they rescheduled, so we're not even concerning ourselves with that. But the second appointment, she waits the day of, an hour before the session's supposed to start. They have every right to not want to work with the defendant. And so I thought that it was insensitive for her to then deny these people their money. And that's what really bothers me here, is that she says in one breath that she understands, but then she goes on to say these things were just out of her control. But what she had control of was to mitigate these instances and say, you know what, it is my fault, poor planning on my end, here is your money, and we'll call it a day. And she had the opportunity up until this point today, and she's still here saying that none of this was her fault. And all of those problems, I'm sorry, I as the customer should not know about.
I completely agree, and I think your point about losing confidence in someone and therefore not wanting to work with them when they teach your children is such a good point. Even if she had made herself available in a way that worked at the last minute, at that point, I think the confidence was gone, and for somebody who was going to teach your children how to swim, it kind of sours things.
I agree with both of you. She had an affirmative duty, if she wanted to keep the rest of their money, to make sure they were aware of canceling. And she didn't do that. And I certainly empathize with having 5 children and trying to schedule it is an enormous task.
Yeah.
And she and her sister deserve to have all of their money.
So we have a verdict.
We have a verdict.
We do.
A unanimous one.
Unanimous.
This court is again in session.
All right, ladies, we have reached a unanimous verdict. Ms. Iofasi, we believe that it was an affirmative duty on your part to ensure that your customers understand your business policies, especially when it comes to a no refund policy. And that wasn't made clear. Also, it's just a manner of just common courtesy and just good business sense. And even if you had given the plaintiffs their money back in full, they could have at least walked away believing that you were fair. But you didn't do that. You should have understood, and I felt like you lacked sensitivity with that. So I hope that this is a learning opportunity for you. That being said, the verdict today is in favor of the plaintiffs for the full amount of $500.